Good morning, everyone. And maybe it's a little bit late in where you are at. No, it doesn't matter. But for me, it is somewhere around 6 p.m. Hopefully, you guys are doing fantastic. And good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are. Hello, we have username in the chat. How is it going, my friend? Welcome. And thank you for stopping by. By the way, we had to start a little bit late today. I have again, couple of things not playing out. But so far, everything is playing out fantastic. So let me get started with you guys because you guys are the most amazing part of this channel and of course out of this setup. So let's take a look at here. So we have username so far and we have friend the tank. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome. So today we're gonna do it all over again. We're gonna be scanning the market. We're gonna be looking for possible scenarios to long, to short, or to just take advantage of the markets, right? So let's get started first with Bitcoin, a little bit on an overview, and that is because Bitcoin usually moves the rest of the market, right? So if we see Bitcoin just ranging, we can expect other altcoins to start taking off, or if we see Bitcoin dumping, we can expect everything else dumping along the way. And if we see people pumping, we can expect certain coins to pump along Bitcoin and everything else kind of like pumping, all right? So also we have Alexander G in the house. What is up, Alexander G? Welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. So you should do stocks as well. Absolutely. Let's do it. Throw them on here and I will absolutely take a look at those. That'll be fantastic. Let me know where or what should we be getting started with. And I do have my stocks set up in here. I have, let's say, Crypto Basics, and then I have, let me see. Oh man, Crypto Basics just too large. Wait. Let me see. Maybe I just had it a little bit hidden here. This is just a standard setup. Maybe we can do just a stocks thing just to follow along. So yeah, absolutely, we can do those. Just let me know. All right, so let's get started. Let's go to the charts and we'll see what I got. All right, so far, let's get started with Bitcoin, and then we're gonna be moving into Ethereum because we have an ongoing short on Ethereum, right? So hashtag Ethereum, fantastic playouts that we have looking into, right? So this is, by the way, an entry that we took throughout the Chart Prime class. Live we took it, but also we talked about that on the previous session, the possible long, the movement to the upside, the breakout retest, our entry right here, and then continuation to the next resistance. The next resistance, of course, being the dynamic reactor, and boom shakalaka, it's playing out. Just so if you are on the Chart Prime classes, here is what I would start taking some profits, right? Why? Let's do a little bit of that same play out that we did, right? So let's go and take a look at either the full movement or as we broke through. I'm going to go for the breakout retest and then measure the overall movement. Look at where we are bouncing from out of the half of that position, right? So if this is a continuation or a range, well then this is a fantastic area to start considering moving your stop to entry and then taking maybe TP number one. Another thing that's happening here is that we are having a goose head, and that goose head, let's see how that plays out with that goose head. Once we have the goose head in here, we have what? A retracement. Retracement where? Usually the 1/3 or 1/2 depending on that movement, and in this case was to 1/3 of the movement, and then what? Further continuation to the upside to then a next further move to the downside. All right, so I'm expecting right now to maybe start bouncing up in here because we have a goose head playing out as we speak. Let me bring up the other oscillators. Let me just change this back into the classical oscillator, the prime oscillator, of course. All right, let's see it. Let's just give it a second while this loads. Perfect. And yeah, we have the goose head with a couple of reversals, right? So maybe we can go maybe a little bit lower, somewhere around where we break out retested, right? I mean, at the end of it all, this is a dynamic reactor, a very strong area. We're not going to be fully closing this trade. We're going to leave it open. And of course, we're going to be taking some profits just to try to trail it as we go. But so far, we are on the first danger zone of the short. This is the place to be taking some profits. Not financial advice, just what I'm going to be doing. All right. So again, let's go back to Bitcoin. That's where we're going to be getting started with. Just want to make that little parenthesis and squeeze in first XRP, because on XRP, it is time to maybe start taking some decisions, right? Again, do as you please, right? Do as what it makes the most sense to you, and then, well, then follow along with your decision. At least I would say squeeze in your stop loss a little bit in there. All right, let's go to the Bitcoin chart. Here we go. This is what we were expecting. We had a trend line in here. We hit that trend line. It's not about the breakout. We did not break out, right? But we hit that trend line. So what now? We do have a little bit of a goose head. We have a double trend line. So this trend line coming in strong, right? This other trend line coming in strong. So it is time to wait. If you want to take the risk, I would say that this is a good area to long. All right, stay with me. Don't just go 100x right now. All right, again, this is not financial advice. All right, I'm just telling you what I'm seeing, but hold your horses. Hold your horses just for 1 second in here. Let me read the chat just to see how you guys are doing, and also shout out the new members as they are coming in. So we have also Moho stopping by to smash that like before. Absolutely, bet. Good night, my friend. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really like it. Really appreciate it, my friend. Let me send you a big hearty here from the Piper Academy, and also from your friend right here, OZ. Alexander Z, of course, double shout out. Username, triple shout out. So who else we got here? Week Wife, what is up, my friend? Thank you so much for stopping by. JR, what is up, brother? The master, JR. The summer. No, you're the ninja, right? You're the ninja, JR. What's up, my friend? Thank you so much for stopping by and clicking that like button. By the way, guys, if you haven't, just a quick reminder, it really helps with the algorithm. Click that like button if you think that this provides value. And if you think this is a waste of time, well, I have a proposal for you. Send it to your enemy. Maybe you can make him to waste his time too, right? So either way, share it. It really helps. Good evening, LC. Good evening, JR. Welcome, my friend. All right. So far, I would say that we are in a waiting zone, right? Yes, we have this upwards movement, but let me hide everything for a little second, even the setups in here. Let me right click and let's go to inverted scales. So what does this looks like to you? This has to do with a flag. Does this maybe looks like a bullish flag? I don't know. It does to me, all right? We are still bullish down here, but remember, right down here on our oscillator, we are not inverted, all right? So I just need to be aware or careful that we don't lose this trend line, right? And then we break with strength, basically confirming the flag. All right, let's invert it back to see what was that thing, and look at that. So far I will say that this is not imminent. All right, it's just there. We need to acknowledge that, because if for some reason this thing changes, all right, if somebody just decides, I don't know, maybe Melon Tusk goes in here and says, hey, this looks too bullish, let's just mess up with some people in here, and decides to sell just a little bit of his pocket change, right? He might be starting a chain or a chain reaction, right? So we're going downwards. This looks to be a flat pause, a bearish continuation, a bearish flag. But the only thing that I'm seeing, and that's why I'm telling you this is not imminent, it is that we are above the zero line, and also we are within the green area here. Usually the green cloud indicates that the next upcoming most immediate movement should be to the upside. And look at, since we broke into the green cloud, the most immediate movement has been to the upside. All right, so far no changes in there until or unless we do this, right? We fall below the zero line, getting into the red candle. That will also mean breaking through this big support. How big of a support? Let's remember, look at how big of a support this has been. All right, let me zoom in here, and then well, also how we're gonna be trading this if this goes to the other side of Valhalla. Well, the breakout retest our entry, right, with a stop loss somewhere around here, and then off we go. So not quite there yet with the short, right? But still, that looks to me like this is forming a bear flag, right? Again, this is also known as a what? Dead cat bounce, right? So just be careful out there. Let me start bringing in my indicators. We're still pretty bullish because we're above dynamic reactor, and also we are bullish because we have green candles, and also we are bullish because our prime score, it is telling us, hey, trust me, bro. Not just kidding, trust me, bro. It's just reading the indicators for you, right? Consolidation score 8, very nice consolidation score. It's telling us that we are about to be breaking the consolidation, and this is of course an up-ranging consolidation. Usually up ranges tend to break to the downside, all right? So still, we need to be a little careful. Let's go to a cleaner chart. I think I'm gonna be doing this one. And for some reason, this is not cleaner. Let's see this one. All right, a little bit better, right? This is something that we were expecting or talking about yesterday, if you guys remember. Maybe finding a head and shoulders, right? If we did not, well then let's just go over it again. We are already breaking through the trend line, right? I mean, let's just remember that. We are breaking through the trend line, basically the trend, it's over, right? That doesn't mean going all the way down here, although we still have our areas of support. But it does mean that we need to start looking for topping scenarios, right? One of those topping scenarios, it is swing of the highs, swing failure, all right? Swing of the highs. We haven't had that, all right? We didn't have that. In fact, it would have been right here. I don't think it's going to be here. Not quite there yet. Another one could be a head and shoulders. What we are looking at, a double top. We're still not too late for that double top. But before we get a double top, we could be having a head and shoulders, right? Why? Because if we start going up in here and then we do not reject out of the median or reject out of the trend line, if we do not reject out of those, well then we still can make a double top. But before we see a double top, remember how is that morphology concept, right? We start looking into what it is right now and what it could transform step by step, all right? So far, it is a triangle, all right? So far, this is what we got, and it could transform into a head and shoulders, and then if the head and shoulders missed or is not reached out, it's basically broken to the upside, we could be looking into a double top. But so far, that's what we got. Look at that, we already have a reversal. We're falling back down in here. Again, we are in green areas, which means slightly going upwards, right? So unless we have flip of the ribbon, we're not going to be turning back bullish, although we could be looking or doing something like that. If, by the way, we turn back bullish in here, we could still be doing this and basically not confirming this head and shoulders, despite we did create a head and shoulders. Let me see if I can find one of those examples, because not too long ago that actually happened. Let me see, because that was a very interesting, and that happens because of how the cricket was not exactly because of the cricket bottom, but usually when we have a cricket bottom differently from where we're expecting the breakout, right? Let me go there and then we go ahead with the example. So usually head and shoulders, it's a topping scenario, right? Usually head and shoulders tends to break to the downside, right? So I want to have a baseline and a neckline going like that, right? So maybe like this, all right? So a head and shoulders like that we have a shoulder, a head, and then a lower shoulder with a cricket bottom like this. This is usually what we want to see, right? That usually indicates that we're losing that momentum, and then we can break out, retest, and go further downside with strength, right? In this case, the bottom of or the neckline in here, let me just relock this. It is going the other way around, which usually indicates that we still have that momentum, all right? Let's go and check that out, for example. Let's see. In fact, I think, no, that was very close, but it wasn't. I think here it is. All right, perfect. Look at this small head and shoulders, right? It's almost the same thing that happened right here. We have a top, right, or an inverse underneath. A dead cat bounce also because it was not quite exactly at the same top. And then what happens here, go back up, shoulder, head, shoulder. How do we measure this? From previous candles, right, looking into that area here, also looking for the neckline, adding the previous candle that the previous trend line that we looked for, right, and that was what we were expecting. In fact, this actually played out a little bit better on lower time frames, so maybe on the 6 hours, but let's not, sorry, on a 1 hour, but let's not do that. Let's just stay here, right? So we have the shoulder, the head, the shoulder with a cricket to the upside scenario. What happening here? Well, then we have a little bit of that breakout, nothing too serious, you see that, and then finally a push through to the upside. All right, there's another scenario where it is a little bit more evident, where we have that that head and shoulders. There it is, shoulder, head, shoulder, cricket to the upside, making a perfect shoulder, bouncing in here, a little bit of that indecision, going back and forth, and then push to the upside. All right, once again, that itty bitty head and shoulders, that did not play it out. So that's why we need to be patient with this formation, right? What am I trying to tell you? All right, there is a head and shoulders. I mean, not right now, but we could be forming that head and shoulders at this point. All right, if we bounce from here, or if we bounce from there, well, then we know that the next area of support is going to be somewhere around here. Remember, it is not the actual head and shoulders possible prediction what is golden here. No. It is the actual boundaries of the head and shoulders that let us trade the inside of that head and shoulders, right? Because if we go all the way here, right, and then we see flip of the ribbon, hey, we see a retraction and we go, hey, we know this could be a head and shoulders, so let's short this all the way to where? To the next area of danger. Why is this the next area of danger? Because we can bounce to the upside. Why? Because we have a cricket, a sideways cricket bottom. You see how am I referring to this? So this is why it's important to look at a head and shoulders, not because it's actually going to be playing out the way that a head and shoulders should be, but because it gives us certain parameters, which are support resistances and trend lines to trade inside that pattern, right? So that's why it's important to look for those patterns, because we have trend lines, support resistances, and a little possibility. All right, guys, give me just 1 second, please. I need to again mute this for 1 second, and I'll be back with you guys. There we go, perfect. So far we're still within the same scenario, ranging possible scenario, right? Because at the end of it all, this still little range, V-shaped recovery, low, not lower than the previous range, that gives us 70% chances of ranging. All right, so let's remember Wyckoff really quickly. There it is. Let's zoom all the way down here, and here it is, going down, little range, V-shaped recovery, high, not higher than the previous range, that gives us 70% chances of ranging. Exactly the same, but inverted, if that makes sense, right? So little range, V-shaped recovery. Let's just invert it. Why not? Right? Let me just clean this up so we can draw on top of it. Perfect. Coming down, little range, V-shaped recovery, high, not higher than the previous range, equals 70% ranges. 70% chances of ranging. What is going to be the next possible ranging scenario? Well, we already have it defined in here and in here. Let's go for it between those two. Between here and the previous low areas right down here. So right there. So that is our ranging zone, being outer range for an entry short, our outer range for an entry long, right? So there we go. I think that's the homework already done for you guys. But let's go back into what we left out actually, and let's look for our setups from yesterday. All right, let's go. Let's let it just load. Perfect. All right. So if it's everything is looking, oh come on, if it's everything looking bearish, why am I saying that this could be a good area to long it, right? Let's do this one more time. Let's invert it. All right, let's invert the scales. Coming down, right? Little range, V-shaped recovery. What is up next? Our ranging zone in here, all right? So outer range for entries, outer range for also exits and re-entries. Let's invert this back. So where are we? We are at the base, right? It's all about the base of the range, right? So it's not about the breakout. So sorry, it's not about the breakout. Yeah, it's about the retest, and we are retesting. As long as we are above the zero line, as long as we are in the green cloud, I think we can take the risk to go long in here. Let me see if we have enough things to confirm that that ranging scenario, right? Let me just click here. Let's get rid of this. Let's also get rid of this because we already talked about that, and we have our entry. Oh my God, I need to lock this for crying out loud. All right, and also this one, let's lock it because I see myself just moving it all around, up and down, all around. All right, perfect. So let's get started with our indicators, right? So let's take a look at where is our SMA combo, and it's looking as a resistance. We already bounced from that resistance, all right? It's already half playing out. It already have played out. So nothing to fear anymore out of this SMA combo. It already played out, and it was not a strong one single candle pushing through, right? So everything all right for now. Let's see what else we have. Not really candle stick patterns above or below, so we are cool with that. Let's see support and resistances. Out of a resistance, well, the next support is in here, but of course we have dynamic reactor. We still need to be careful. Where are we based on our setup in here? Let's just remove everything in here. All right, let's push it over. And how is our purple line looking? Still pushing downwards while we are green. So that means still slightly ranging to the upside. The worst case scenario would be flipping down right here and keep aiming, and then push up in here, because that will be strength, gaining strength on losing the bullishness. That means move to the downside, all right? But so far, we're still stable. We're still stable, all right? So nothing to fear just now at that point. Let's see what else we got. Let's see in here. Well, we are on the zero lines in here. Let's see exactly zero. Yep, we're bouncing off zero. Usually indicates a little bit more downwards movement. But again, we're pretty bullish unless we lose the support. We're not turning bullish. So once again, let me just go for reducing everything. And let's take a look at our predictive ranges in here. Predictive ranges, what did I say? We are on golden line, one of the most important ones, right? But also we're getting support out of the ranging zone, right? Who would have guessed? Ranging on a ranging zone, perfect. So far, stable. Soft order block, perfect. We can maybe go a little lower here. This is bullish, perfect. Well, then maybe we can do that. And then that retracement, even if it's 90%, 91% bullish, that means that where's our next support resistance? Let's bring it up. Oh, where is it? There we go. So breakout with strength in here, going to the support, and then maybe piercing through the next or to the next area of support resistance, and then we need to see what's going to happen there, right? This is just too far away for me to predict what's going to be in the next movement with accuracy. But so far, this is what I'm seeing. So let's see what else we have. Trend, base of the range, perfect. The VPVR, still very close to that VPVR base. Let's see the gust trend. Let's just ignore it. Let's go right to our, I want to see the gust trend. Oh, come on, don't tell me. Let's change it back. Let's wait for it to load. Oh yeah, this is because this is Bitstamp for some reason. Bitstamp does not plays nicely with it. Let's see right here, we should have it. Yep, we do have it. So far, we have broken the trend. We haven't rebuilt or restructured any other trend. So we're still fine with that, right? Let's see, risk reward. Well, we haven't configured that one. We need to do that, by the way. And let's go to Bitstamp in here. Where is our next possible target? Above in here. So we're still waiting for that target to be taken. In fact, it already has taken from yesterday. All right. So we'll see how that goes. What else? Well, Fibonacci. Looking like the same. Liquidations, well, it will make sense to go lower, but still there no. So it's still waiting zone. If you want to take the risk, be my guest. Let me just give you a little bit of a how would I do it, which I'm not going to so far. Long position right here, maybe slightly lower in here. My stop loss right below my support zone. Give myself that wiggle room and aim to my next resistance zone somewhere around here. Is it above 1? Yes, it's 1.3. So I can maybe start jumping in with one full position, low leverage, or increase my leverage and do half of a position in there. So far, that's what I got on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at where we left out previously on our setups. By the way, guys, this is the moment when I start asking for your suggestion. What should we be taking a look at for the rest of the class? Let's do some trading. Jay Violet, what is up? Welcome. Great to have you here. Key DGT, what is up? Welcome, my friend. Nice to have you here. You know who's Jesus or Jesus Saves or Saves? I don't know. Let me know. Is it Jesus number 1 or Jesus number 2? I don't want to misspell your name. Nailed it, maybe. All right. Let me know. All right. So let's go over other things that we've been looking at. Let's go to what TRX. I believe that we had TRX yesterday. No, I don't think so. Well, in this case, we were looking at a possible going up zone in here for rejection. We did not actually make that movement to the upside. We just hit resistance in here and created a double top, breaking the previous support in here with a strength candle, going back down. It did respect the breakout retest, or the retest at least, right? And then going back downwards in here. This is the same pattern that we see, a possible bearish scenario in here. Still they're bullish, so we're just waiting for maybe that goose head to have that retracement, further move to the upside, and then bigger retracement. We need to be careful right here. All right, let's move on with the next one. Ethereum hashtag FETH, and look at that, beautiful, nice, beautiful Ethereum played out. There we go. We went all the way down to support areas. It did play out fantastically on the dynamic reactor. I was expecting a little bit lower here, higher in here, but it did play out in a great way in here, and then bouncing back up. If you need to take that a trade, it's time to take some profits. Turbo, I don't think we took Turbo. What's the one we did yesterday? I believe it was, let me see. Let me go all the way here. Tia. Right, Tia. Oh, this is not good, by the way. We were expecting a little bit of a better movement in here. Did not play it out. Let's see. I did not trade Tia, by the way. It went all the way down in here. Big performance, just started moving somewhere around here. We were expecting some support at this area, so maybe one stopped out already, playing out for the 4 hour. So far, let me just clear this up, because if I'm not mistaken, that should be 20. We are at what, 3, right? 2, right? 2, 1. So it wasn't. No, that wasn't from yesterday. That wasn't from yesterday. Yesterday it was 2. Yeah, and it was somewhere around here. All right. So let's start bringing up our indicators. Where is our SMA combo at the top? Let's see. What else do we have in here? Engulfing candle. Nothing really happening right now. Right on the resistance. All right. This is interesting. We already have a breakout. It's not about the breakout. It's about the retest. Let's find that retest And when we have a flip in here or a peak performance all the way down here, that's where we're going to be looking for our next re-entry. So far, we're doing fantastic in here. Let's bring up our trend line. We already have a trend line in here. We can actually create a channel. Perfect. Let's bring this out. This is the channel that we're seeing. Let me add an alert in here and also an alert in here. Let's log it first, of course, and let's add our alert. Let me read you guys just to see if we have any suggestions. So username Frank, your 77 red panic. What? I'm not following. Let's see, guys. Do we have any suggestions for today? Guys, let me know. Let me see. All right, no suggestions so far, guys. Let me know if we have any suggestions so we can follow along. AIXPT, that was a short. I was expecting a little long in here, did not play it out. Again, that was on the 30th of May that we give this analysis. So far, we are actually not playing out very nicely. This is actually short, called out. Let's just get rid of this. At this point, I'm going to be looking for breakout retest of we go. Let's see if we have some supports right down here. Yep, we do, especially right here with this trend line. Perfect. That's nice. We're almost there with a breakout retest. I would not be long in this area until I get somewhere around here and start looking at the next movement downwards. We're between two areas of support. I will be actually looking for longing it right in there. Let's add that alert. By the way, we also have our alerts in there, so we'll see how that goes. Guys, any suggestions so far? Let me know. How does USDC looks? I don't know. Let's take a look at that. USDC versus what? The dollar or what? USD, right? All right. This is just for username. Perfect. It's looking fantastic, man. I don't know. I bought somewhere around here, right? And haven't moved actually. But no, in complete seriousness, by the way, let me take advantage of that because if you have USDC and also USDT, well, then you can do something about it. Like, for example, let's go and take a look at USDT versus USDC. There we go. I think this is going to be the one on Coinbase. Perfect. This actually has a move. Not too much of a move, but absolutely has a move. So what can we do? Let's take a look at those disparities. I mean, come on, look at that. They actually move. Let's see. Maybe I can draw a box. I absolutely think I can. Let's try to go somewhere around here and then somewhere around there. All right, perfect. That's gonna be it. Let me try to move it to my right. If I shift click it, maybe is that faster? I don't know. I don't think so. Let me just grab it. Why not? All right, something like that. So what can we do about this? Let's do like this. Well, you can hedge it. For example, you set a sell order in here, right? And then you say you set a buy order right there. So, all right, let's take a look at that stock. Have you heard of grid trading, OC? Yep, I have heard of grid trading. I've been playing around a little like that few days, setting up grids, but also because of a liquidity and TA. Oh, absolutely. Okay, DGT, that's an absolutely great way to start trading. Maybe we can do a class on it. Let me prepare it and we'll see that. So let's take a look at that. That is a stock. You mentioned username, so let's do RG I guess the one that is using NASDAQ, all right? RGTI. Not too much. Oh, history I was about to say. This is a 4 hour. We need to go to a daily, all right? This is, oh man, what are we looking at? Computing. All right, well, something big should have happened. All right, this to me looks like, yeah, this looks to me like we might be either double topping here or double topping here. Not 100% sure. So far, we're losing strength on the bullish scenario. Don't know that we're going to have a peak performance. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're just going to do something like that. So far, let's do our trend line setup. So it doesn't seem like I can do a perfect trend line, but this is perfect enough or good enough. Let's see if we have some support. We are on support. If you're trying to get a risk entry, which I wouldn't suggest right now, but still we can do it. Let's go to the 4 hours. This could be an area of entry. I rather not going for that one, because despite we could be forming that head and shoulders, we're already turning blue right here, right? So, and look at that. We're almost, and look at my zero line, we're almost on the purple line, about to hit the zero line to maybe bounce from it, right? So getting strength on the bearishness, if that makes sense. I would rather wait for this retracement and go up. If not, well then I will start looking for some sort of triangle in here. I'm gonna be uniting those two areas, those two tops, and then maybe looking for the next possible short in here. Still, if you see that that does not plays out, remember you might be getting one stopped out. Well then wait for the big area of rejection in here and trade the retracement, and then the up we go. We're still very bullish, we're still trending, but that's because we're above dynamic reactor. But in here we're starting to have early signals of dipping. Just be careful with that one. I would rather wait for a further move to the downside or to play it out with a triangle. So next area to look into is going to be along this trend line. So that's what I got, my friend. How about QBTS? Absolutely, let's do that. QBTS. By the way, guys, I do have a question for you. Okay, DGT, what does wood means? Fill me on that one. I've seen that on the Discord a couple of times, but not really if it's like wood, right? Like, I don't know if it, what kind of expression is it? Explain me a little bit more if you can, please. I'll really appreciate that. Friendly Tan, what's up, bro? All right, so, oh, nice. All right, so QBTS. That is rigidity computing again. QBT, no, all right, got it right here. QBTS, that is D-Wave Quantum Inc. Oh man, what an awesome name is that, dude. You're looking at good companies, I guess, or at least good name companies in here, good stocks. Haven't heard about them, but fine. Oh, it's like happy. Oh, got it. All right. So it's like whoop whoop, sort of like whoop whoop. I see. Is that like that? Nice. Got it, bro. Thank you. Really appreciate that, my brother. All right. So a little bit of the same. We're seeing a little bit of that breakout. Rising the roof. You know. Oh, got it. All right. So we already have the reversal diamond here. So that means that most likely we're going to have a lower high, a dead cat bounce, and maybe a reversal. We do have one of those weird trend lines, right? This trend line in here at the top that is now acting upon here. Let's see if we have some resistances in there. Well, too big. There we go. We do have not really in there right here where we are right now. I would actually be expecting something like that and then going to the loud order block to bounce back up. So, and that is because we're turning bearish in here. This is a little difficult because there's a loud order block in here, which can be making a quick change of the trend that we're seeing here. So maybe a little wave and then back up. So if that is the case, we could be having just a little bit of that retracement. Either way, I would wait for, and man, we're kind of like, there's not much in there. Let me see. There we go. I think I found what I'm looking for. There's two important things in here. One, it's my 0 to 0. Look at that, man. I mean, only maybe one person just pushes. So smart money entry. And then we have a ranging zone right above here, right? So most likely we're gonna be seeing a rejection in here, all right? Rejection, back to the order block. Where's my order block? And then maybe off we go. Something important in here is that we could be having a Wyckoff scenario coming down, little range, V-shaped recovery, high, not higher than previous range. This gives us 70% chances of ranging. Maybe this could be a short-lived range because of the loud order block that we have in there. So I think this could be a very interesting one to trade, my friend. Nice. So areas to look for, of course, the breakout retest somewhere around 1708 and 1605. All right, that will be a good area here. So let's see what else do we have in here, guys. Let's do one more. Let me know in the side chat if you want me to analyze something else. Oh, I see. IO NQ. Right, let's watch it. Oh, it's very similar. All right, maybe those two are almost in the same ballpark. So I guess quantum computing or something like that. Same ballpark in here. The only difference is that we are in much bigger resistance areas. We did have a peak performance. We have a reversal here. We're gonna have more downtrend. We're gonna go at least to this area, maybe bounce back up, and then rejection to the loud order block. Be careful here. We're still bullish because we're above dynamic reactor. Right here, let me add that alert. That's where my analysis could be failing. All right, on the next look for the next retesting here. That is because we don't know if we're seeing this, if we're going to be seeing this loud order block break down into newer order blocks, most likely somewhere around here. We also have a CME gap. So I would rather wait for this to go lower, maybe buy it here, half of a position, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing futures, maybe you can secure yourself with a put and a call, right? And then, well, as you go up, you close one of those. So yeah, that will be what I think it is. All right, so let's do a couple of alerts that we have hit. We did hit alerting here on what LTC. So Litecoin, in fact, we've been riding on that alert area. XRP, of course, that was a fantastic movement. We were expecting that push through. Well, area of resistance coming back down. Although right here, I did saw that resistance playing out faster. Right, I see it right here, and also I saw it right here with this overbought. So I took the advantage. Something important, once again, it is that we can still come back down and up to create that goose head scenario that we already have, right? So let's take a look at BTC. Well, we're going for that possible re-entry as we already have spoken, all right? A dangerous re-entry, but nonetheless a possible Wyckoff 70% chances of ranging scenario. The only thing that I don't like, once again, it is, and let me show you, it is that right here we're pointing downwards and we have our first tiny candle and then going lower. All right, we need to be careful up there. Oh yeah, man, he is. All right, guys, so let's call out the show for today. I think that was a very nice setup. Username, I really thank you a lot, my friend. I think we should be doing something like that, like stocks in crypto. So if you guys like stocks, if you guys like commodities, if you guys like gold, platinum, copper, whatever you guys like, please bring it up. I'll be more than happy to mix them up. In fact, guys, if you bring something else than Bitcoin, than altcoins, I promise to interest or escalated, right? So basically one altcoin, one stock, one altcoin, one metal, one altcoin, one other stock, right? Something like that to make it a little bit more dynamic. I also love stocks. I'm also looking at gold. And well, then you already know this is your space, guys. You dictate what we're looking here. And of course, guys, thank you so much for joining. So, guys, without further ado, have a great night. We already have a couple of setups. We'll see how they played out. Yesterday's setups, they haven't ringed alerts. We'll see tomorrow how that develops. And then also when we're going to be taking an eye on. Today, I'm going to be going over those. So tomorrow, we're prepared. So morning market report. Also expect me to touch on those yesterday setups for a possible change or update before the night training with OC class. All right. Other than that, guys, thanks so much. And as always, see you guys tomorrow.